Another criticism of TV we get quite a bit is that we don't do enough on religion and prayer. Now we are. And tonight, State Representative Susan Wagle is in Topeka preparing for tomorrow's opening of the legislative veto session.
2 years ago, though, John, there were those who said she wouldn't be alive to participate. The Speaker pro tem is used to having control, but a few years ago, she found out what little control she really has. Tonight in The Power of Prayer, how she says a church service, a doctor, and God's intervention saved her life. At Susan Wagle's church, the hymn is soothing, the lyrics telling. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole, something Susan desperately wanted.
There is some tax relief.
As a veteran legislator, Susan Wagle is used to wielding power. 2 years ago, though, she was completely powerless.
But after we found out that it was very widespread and it was considered incurable, it was devastating.
It is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, widespread through her chest and bones, a diagnosis that stunned Susan and her family.
Scared, that's the real feeling I remember.
Frightened of?
Well, losing my best friend.
We brought the children into this room and we told them that I had cancer and that doctors, we didn't know what was going to happen in the future, but that they didn't know if Mommy was going to live or not. So
shortly after the diagnosis, that seemed a real possibility. Doctors said Susan tests showed the mother of four would have to start aggressive chemotherapy and preparation for a dangerous bone marrow transplant.
some forms of lymphoma are curable, and low-grade non-Hodgkin's is not.
So then it was time to tell the state.
And it's when we have exhausted our human possibilities that we allow God to perform miracles.
And God, says Susan, started working. First in church, 2 days before chemotherapy, Susan's husband, Tom, prayed for a miracle. He looked up to see Dr. Harry Hines, one of the leading oncologists in Kansas.
I never go to that particular time to church, and I almost never have an empty day.
Incredibly, he had a cancellation next day. That improbable meeting at church led to an important appointment at Mayo Clinic that very week, and a decision by doctors to, for a while, cancel the transplant and the chemotherapy.
This whole church praying for you.
Thousands of prayers brought more hope. Boxes full of cards promising prayer came in from all over the state.
For Christ's healing for those who are ill.
And at St. Vincent de Paul Church, the prayer intensified.
Through this holy anointing.
Susan was anointed with the oil of the sick.
And as I prayed that God would take care of her.
It appears he did.
We went back for another CAT scan to track the progress of my cancer. He kept flipping through the reports and finally said, I think these are the wrong reports.
But they weren't.
And he said,
With a smile.
with a smile,
He said, yeah.
he said, the tumor by your aorta has dissolved.
In fact, most of the tumors had dissolved. Susan's cancer was in remission with no treatment at all.
We shared the news with our church that Sunday, and everyone clapped. We were just ecstatic.
I do believe in prayer is powerful, and I do think it is very important. But as a physician, I'm not able to gauge. I can tell you what happened, that her lymphoma went away.
I share the story with people so that I can give them hope and I can encourage them, and so that when they encounter a trial, that they'll get on their knees like we did and offer it up to the Lord.
Prayer and a lot of support from family, and as she said, people she never even knew.
She didn't know. Boxes and boxes of letters, and I was reading a lot of the letters, and Almost every single one of them said, "We are praying for you, we are praying for you."
And look at the results. Amazing.